You might think you know Gambit, but here are 12 facts you may not know about the X-Men's Ragin Cajun. Gambit first appeared in 1990's Uncanny X-Men number 266, following a cameo appearance in Uncanny X-Men Annual number 14. He was created by writer Chris Claremont and artist Jim Lee, while his earliest appearance was drawn by artist Mike Collins. A gambit is a chess strategy in which a player sacrifices some of his or her pieces in order to gain an advantage of position. So I think we can all agree that Gambit the character would make way more sense if he threw explodey chess pieces instead of playing cards. Speaking of Gambit's playing cards, they're not even his weapon of choice in his first appearance. In that story, he uses small throwing daggers as well as a broom handle in place of his later trademark staff. Also, he charges up the items with rays from his eyes. Most of this stuff gains its more familiar form by the next issue. Besides his most famous ability to charge items with kinetic energy until they explode, Gambit also possesses a subtle mental ability referred to as Hypnotic Charm, with which he can mentally influence people to agree with him and do what he says. Presumably, he's also pretty good at close-up magic, negging, and peacocking. Gambit was abandoned as a baby because of his evil-looking red and black eyes. He was subsequently kidnapped by the Thieves Guild of New Orleans and was eventually adopted by the guild's patriarch, whose pocket he had tried to pick and was given the name Remy LeBeau. Although his most famous love is his fellow X-Man Rogue, Gambit was once married to a woman named Belladonna Boudreaux, who was the granddaughter of the head of the Assassin's Guild. Remy's marriage to her united the two warring guilds, but after he accidentally killed Belladonna's brother in a duel, he was exiled from the city and his relationship with Belladonna was ended. According to creator Chris Claremont, Gambit was originally conceived of as a villain. He was to be an artificially created and aged version of Mr. Sinister, who was at one time planned to be trapped in a child's body. This adult version of the child Sinister was supposed to woo Rogue, with whom Sinister had fallen in love. You know what, it's probably for the best that this didn't happen. However, Gambit's connection to Mr. Sinister was not completely severed. It was revealed that one of Gambit's darkest secrets was that he had been hired by Sinister to assemble the team of mercenaries that would become known as the Marauders, the team of mutants responsible for the slaughter of the sewer-dwelling mutants, the Morlocks, an event known as the Mutant Massacre. When a disguised Magneto puts together an Urzaz trial to prosecute Gambit for his role in the Mutant Massacre, Gambit is brought in by his former partners. Spat, an adult bounty hunter trapped in a child's body due to Gambit letting her get hit by a de-aging ray, and Grovel, a giant alien toad monster. Gambit once encountered an alternate universe version of himself known as the New Sun, who was so powerful that he accidentally charged and exploded his whole world. New Sun then traveled from universe to universe, murdering alternate versions of himself to make sure they wouldn't also blow up their own worlds. At one point, Gambit tried to infiltrate the ranks of the mutant overlord Apocalypse by joining him as his Horseman of Death. What Gambit didn't realize was that the transformation into one of Apocalypse's 4 horsemen was mental as well as physical, and he found it difficult not to follow Apocalypse's evil orders. Don't worry though, he got better. Before he was eventually portrayed by Texas football star Tim Riggins in the film X-Men Origins Wolverine, a number of other actors were considered to play Gambit on the big screen in other earlier X-Men films, including Keanu Reeves, Lost's Josh Holloway, wrestler Hurricane Helms, and Channing Tatum, who would later be given the role for a solo Gambit film. That's it for this episode of You Think You Know Comics. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Comics Alliance for more comic facts, and check out comicsalliance.com for more comic awesomeness.